May it be an evening star.
And this is the devastating aftermath of the June 3rd disaster, one of the darkest moments in Ghana. A lot of the victims were displaced, and sadly, some lost their lives in a very painful way. In the wake of tragedy, the human spirit has an incredible capacity for resilience. Meet Mercy Chira Owusu, a chartered accountant who faced the devastating loss of everything she owned during this flooding tragedy. But through determination and perseverance, she embarked on a remarkable journey to rebuild her life from scratch. This is the heartwarming story of a woman who turned adversity into opportunity, transforming her small backyard business and leaving her mark on the poultry industry.
Hello, nice meeting you.
Yes, finally
wow,
you are
finally
here.
I'm here.
Finally you are
ANANSE
here.
Farms. Wow, your road is really not good.
That's Ghana for you.
The road. You are really doing what? So how do you transport these eggs with such a road?
It's not easy. Sometimes you get to a point you see most of the eggs are broken.
Wow.
So mostly we tie it. We use a tie, rubber band, so that after all the shaking,
wow,
it's not easy. So you see how my car is looking all wretched.
Oh my. This, we are playing with the government. These people are feeding Ghana with their own money. Let's fix the road for them. Let's fix the road.
It's horrible. Even not just here. You saw the whole township.
In fact, the whole township. So whilst coming, I was wondering how you do your distribution of the eggs.
It's bad.
Wow.
When it rains, it's bad. When it's dry, it's bad. In fact, Tafo roads are bad.
Wow, this is serious. Wow, but finally we are here, so business must go on. After all these challenges, why poultry farm? Who is Mercy? Why poultry farm?
Why poultry farming? Poultry farm is in fact, farming is my passion.
Wow.
I love farming. My parents were teachers, but they were farmers. So while I was growing up, I saw a little farming. My father was a cocoa farmer. So farming is my passion.
Wow.
Yes, I got into school. In fact, I am good at diversification. Let's put it that way. Because at secondary school, I did history literature from it. I ended up doing accounting. I became a chartered accountant. Decided to divert into farming. So maybe let's say Mercy is good at diversification.
I hope you will not diversify from
no,
poultry.
this, I get fulfilled doing this.
Wow.
Yes, you see, sometimes it's not about the business, but it's about the fulfillment you get from it. Yes, I get fulfilled. I am happy when I see my birds. I'm happy when I see my workers, and I think I'm happy.
Wow.
I feel I'm finally contributing to society.
I want you to go into that. What kind of contribution are you giving to society?
Well, people are feeding from here. People are feeding from here, your workers. So let's see the number of workers I have here. All of them, you are feeding, indirectly you are feeding them. And there are other people depending on them also. So there was a time I traveled, and that was when in the midst of all crisis, I decided not to fold up because I saw that these people were looking up to me. I traveled for about 2 weeks. And when my car I got here, the way my workers were like, hey, madam is here, madam, somewhere jumping, and I was in the car, I was no. So after all, these people are waiting for you. So if not anything, they are looking up to you. I thought maybe they say, madam is gone, so we are happy, we can do whatever. But no. On arrival, the way they were jumping up and down, somewhere organizing food for me, and I realized that at least these people need you, so you should.
And the consumers of the eggs.
Exactly, they are also feeding from you. The women who are buying to sell, they are selling to feed their family, and I mean, so it's fulfilling. For me, I see I'm finally contributing. Physically, I can see what I'm contributing to.
So, who is Mercy?
Mercy is Should I say I'm a young woman?
Yes, you are so young.
I'm not that old though. Yes, a young woman from a family of, in fact, we're six, four girls and then 2 boys. But our last one, unfortunately, is late. Our parents are also late. So at least a family of 5 siblings and a third of the 5. Let's say growing up, I had the best of education. My parents were not that rich, but they did their best for me. I went to a big girls Central University, so you can see I had the best of education. And then I became a chartered accountant. At a point, I realized that I couldn't feel what I was doing. I go to work, everyday routine, you go and look into people's books, running around, giddy, looking for figures. It wasn't fulfilling for me, seriously. So I decided I would want to venture into business. But what brought all this business I was in Accra, and after the June 3rd rainfall, I was hit badly. So I decided to relocate. Because
what really happened during the June 10th?
in fact, we were swallowed up. My children and I were swallowed up in the
Can you
June
share a
3rd.
little light on that?
It was a horrible night, that June 3rd. I was in my room, my house help came calling me that there's water in her room. And true, when I came, the whole place was flooded. And within a matter of seconds, the room was flooded to the window level.
Wow.
So I had to find my way out with my kids. And definitely, a room flooded like that, there's no way you can pick anything.
So you lost everything?
Everything. In fact, I left Accra practically with nothing. I left with my children.
But you were able to, how did you escape the flood and came to a safe
It
location?
was just, I would say, by the grace of God. Well, Mercy, you asked who Mercy is. Mercy is a very hardcore person. Very, very hard. I was a sports person when I was in school. After university, I had some little military training at the Shai Hills Army Recruit Center for 1 month. So at least that helped me, to be honest. That's really helped me. Other than that, I would have been swallowed up in there. Because those military marshals, they have taught us how to escape and all that. So I managed to come up with the children. We formed the chain. Those are some of the simple things they taught us at the camp there. So I formed a chain with the kids, told them don't let go of the other person, otherwise the water will carry you away. So I managed to come out with them, and then that was it.
Wow.
So we decided to leave Accra, and then I got back here and started this.
Came back with zero.
Zero. In fact, zero. And living Accra like that meant I had to leave my job. And then, getting a job in Ghana here is not fun. So I tried all means. I was not getting any well-paying job. In Koforidua, I tried and said, no, let me start something. That was when Mercy got herself into poultry.
So how did the journey start for you? From Accra and now settling to do poultry. How did you start?
In fact, from Accra, I moved to Mampong. And then gradually I started moving closer to Koforidua. I started at the backyard of my father's house with only 150 birds, as if I was in for joke.
Wow.
Yes, so that was where I started. I brought in the 150 birds. And in fact, I had the passion to start something. So all along I was understudying a poultry farm.
Is it whilst you were working?
Yes, whilst I was in Accra, I had in mind to start something. But what to do, you see, in life, when you want to start a business, you need training. So after all, we're doing quite a number of audits here and there. So I knew every business and its challenges. But I decided to choose poultry.
Wow.
So I decided to learn.
What informed your choice?
I loved it. In fact, whenever we go to that farm, I was happy. Whenever I go there, I see the birds, I was happy. And I love farming. Everything about farming, I love it. So I decided to understudy them.
Wow.
So I understudied them for about 3-4 years.
3-4 years?
Yes, they didn't even know I was understudying them.
Wow.
I opted to work for them for free. Nobody does anything for free for anybody. For free. So I was keeping their records for them and making sure, and they were happy. I was making sure all their records, and all those times I learned a lot.
Well, it was a service you were giving
It was a
them.
service to them. And all those times I learned a lot, how they prepare their own feed, what happens, the kind of diseases, and I was learning a lot.
Wow.
So I was able to indirectly have that training from them without even their knowledge.
Wow.
Without even their knowledge. I hope it is not
splendid.
illegal.
No, it's not. No, you could have even gone for internship without giving them the accounting services.
Exactly.
You were giving them, but here in the case, you were giving them.
I was giving the accounting services
for free. So it's not illegal at all. That's why it's barter trade.
So I understudied them, and then I took off with 150 bears.
So maybe from here, I'll also come and understudy her. I'll be shooting videos.
No, but I've been bringing in people for that purpose.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Last year, I had about 2 guys here. They called me, they say, Madam, we want to learn how to do it. I said, no problem, come, I'll train you.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were here for about 6 months. And one of them, looks like the guy was no longer interested in schooling, and the father, he was giving the father a tough time. I told the man has some money. Told the man, bring the guy, let me train him, and then go and set him up. And today he has his farm.
So how much did you charge them for the training?
Oh no, I don't charge for those trainings.
You mean you didn't charge them?
Not at
for
all.
6 months?
Yes.
You housed them as well?
I house them. I feed them on top.
Hey.
I don't charge them.
Really?
Sure.
So anyone watching can
No, if you want to learn,
for
once
free.
you are ready to learn, because the issue is that indirectly it's not for free, because they also worked.
Okay.
You see, they also work. But if you come with a mentality that I'm not your worker, so I will not follow instructions, then I will not waste time. I will let you go. Because you are occupying my accommodation, you are feeding from my farm, and then you can't just come and flout every rule. And one thing about poultry is that when your workers flout every rule, they create problems for you. They create a lot of problems for you. So yes, I train them. Once in a while, I do train them.
If you are watching and you want to learn poultry business, this is free bonanza. Pick ANANSE Farms details in the description. Call them. They are willing to train you for free. For free. You will leave here with practical knowledge that can help you start up your own business. Please call them. Thank you. Wow. So you understudied them for 4 good years.
Close to 4 years.
Wow. So when you started yours with the 150 birds, those experiences came to bear?
Yes, those experiences came to bear. And the interesting is that those 150 birds I picked, from understanding them, I realized that when they bring the birds, maximum 16 weeks, they start laying.
Wow.
Me alone, I brought my 150 birds. 20 weeks, they were not laying. 20 weeks, this bird not laying. I said, what is happening? 21 weeks, they were not laying. All they were doing was they were eating. Then I had one of their veterinary officer's number. So I called him and told him what's up. So he came to the farm. And you know what I had done? When you start them with a broiler starter, then you move to the chick mash, to the grower, and then you have the feed.
Okay.
Then you have the pre-layer, and then you move them to the layer mash. The feed I formulated for them. In fact, from the grower, I jumped. What did I do? I did a silly mistake. I think from the grower, I jumped back to the chick mash. So
the progression.
So these birds were looking fine, but they were not laying.
Wow.
So when he came, he checked the feed and quickly he changed the feed for me. And within a matter of a week or two, I started saying.
Wow.
So that was my first trap. And it's good I brought in only 150 birds. If they were huge, it would have brought me down. I wouldn't have even thought of.
Exactly.
Yeah. So after learning that experience, I brought in new birds, and then my next batch was 1,000.
Wow.
Yes. And the 1,000 I brought, 15 weeks, they started laying.
Okay, let me come in. The 150 birds, you came from Accra with 0. How did you raise money to buy them?
That 150 birds, when I left Accra, I had a job in Koforidia that was paying me at that time was less than 300 cedis.
What? As a chartered accountant?
It was an auditing firm.
Which year was that?
It was in 2019.
Oh, not long ago.
It's not long ago.
Wow.
2018, 2019.
Because
it was around 20. 2016, 2017.
Okay.
Yes, 2016, 2017. They were paying me so little that I didn't even know what to use it for. But then I also needed, the man was a very experienced tax consultant. So I saw it as one of mine, trying to sow knowledge.
ANANSE
That is what
that.
I'm good at. So if you think you won't pay me,
are
don't
cheating
worry.
me.
I'm learning from you.
ANANSE is learning.
And whenever I'm working with you, you see me as the best worker. I am everywhere. I do everything. So before I leave your place, I know A to Z.
Wow.
I worked at a pharmacy in Accra. I was supposed to be the accountant. Before they knew I was dispensing drugs, I was learning everything at the same time. So the salary was so bad, but I needed to learn some tax consulting. So I learned from him. He trained me very well, but the salary was good. No, it was not good.
It's not good.
So I think I used 3 months' salary from there. Fortunately, by then my father was still alive. So I was feeding from my father. Can you imagine? After giving you all that he needs to give you, you are now a chartered accountant and you are still feeding from his pension pay.
Yeah, it's a tragedy that brought you back home.
So I was
Once a father, always a
always
father.
a father. He can't just throw you away. So my children and I were feeding from my father. So I used 3 months' salary. Those times beds were not expensive. I think one was 2 cedis also.
Okay.
And then I ordered my first 150 beds.
And how did you, was it a cage like this you used from the beginning?
Oh, no, it was a small hen cook, which was already in existence behind at my father's backyard. Yes, so I brought those 150 beds in there. And then I started from there.
How did you make your first sales?
That was also another issue. Because when this one started laying, it wasn't an issue though. Because 150 beds, they were laying they started 3 crates, 4 crates. So I was selling to the households around. And then I said, the way the sales were going, sometimes in the morning, even after you have not brought out the eggs and people are standing there waiting for it.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was enjoying it. So I said, then let me bring in more wares.
You brought 1,000.
I brought 1,000. I took a loan from commercial bank. And then I brought 1,000. Brought in this 1,000 because I had known the cost of feeding. Being an accountant, I've known the cost of feeding for the 150 bears. I just had to project it for the 1,000. Wow. I took the exact loan, brought in all the feed material, so that wasn't a problem. Now this 1,000 started producing. They were giving me about 35 crates a day. How will I sell 35 crates to the households? I didn't make provision for that.
For that?
Yes.
Wow.
So it got to a point, in fact, I had enough eggs. About 500 eggs.
500 crates of eggs?
Crates of eggs, they were in my room. Plenty. I didn't even have, so they were packed in my room. And now the eggs were even driving me out of my room. And they were packed in the room. Where do I go from there? I went round bucketing here and there, no show. So one day we were there and somebody brought in a car. He heard that there's a poultry farm here. Say yes, she needs eggs. How many crates? Say even if you have 3,000 crates, I want.
Wow.
And that day, come and see me.
Oh.
That was my biggest sales, so huge for me. And so that was
so it came from going around
looking for people.
Someone
and then someone told them that there's a poultry farm, because already I had talked about it all over the place. So somebody told them that, oh, there's a poultry farm up here.
Wow. So do you still trade with that customer?
Unfortunately, he came twice and I didn't hear from him again.
He was there
He was just there to relieve me of my troubles.
Wow. So you had a hen cook for 150 beds.
150
When you
beds.
brought 1,000, how did you
I put
them?
up a structure for that.
added?
Yes. Because the loan facility I took it to cater for the structure and all that. So I came up with this 1,000 capacity structure to house those ones as well.
Wow. Why ANANSE?
ANANSE, you see, from the story I've told you, you should know that I am ANANSE. I come to
Crafty.
you very smart, very crafty, ready to go. And when everybody is giving up, forget it. ANANSE will never give up. ANANSE is not like that. When people think this cannot, I chose that name because at that time I ventured into poultry. You know the poultry story in Ghana. Everybody was running away from poultry.
Yeah.
But I told myself that I will break this thing.
Wow.
I cannot let this. Should we be in Ghana here, have so many of our youths unemployed, and then we are importing heavily chicken into the country? Have you done the calculations? Because if we can produce here, have you talked of the number of people these heavy importations we are doing can employ? Indirectly, we are creating jobs for other people. Yes. So I decided that I will go into this, build it, and change the narratives of the poultry industry.
Wow. This is so huge. So the inspiration, apart from feeding people and creating jobs, is also to change
The narratives, the poultry
narrative.
narratives. And you see, interesting, Ghana here, we see farming for, excuse me to say, uneducated. There's no way somebody is educated and you talk about farming, it's a taboo. So again, I really wanted to change some narratives in a lot of things here.
Wow.
Because sometimes even my colleagues, when I started, they were, what do you think you are doing? What do you think? A chartered accountant. And you are always in Wellington boots, chasing maize here and there. What are you doing? In fact, at a point, I nearly gave up because sometimes when we meet as colleagues and I see them and I see myself, I say, what am I doing? Some of them come with big cars, and even your small car, you have used this farm to spoil it.
But now it's not the same.
It's not the same. Now they respect me a lot. They respect when they meet and I get there, I get all the cheers.
Wow.
Because now they've seen that I am not joking. Yes.
Wow. So how did you move from your father's backyard to this place?
It was the quest to grow. Because there was no way my father's backyard can house what I had, the dream I had. So after, I think I was at my father's backyard for 2 years. So I had to relocate. I got this land, which is about almost 2 acres. Land is about 2 acres. Then I developed it and moved.
So you've developed all the 2 acres also?
No. For now, even the 2 acres, I have not developed even 10% of it.
Wow.
Yes, I've not even developed 10% of it. So for now, total capacity of the structures I have here can take about 10,000 less.
Wow.
Yes.
So what are some of the sustainable activities you've employed to ensure that your business is sustained?
Well, one, as a poultry farmer, you need shock absorbers.
I don't understand.
You need brand new shock absorbers because when you are losing, you lose big. So normally, there are a lot of risk associated with poultry.
Wow.
And that is what brings most of the farmers down and they never come back into business. Let me give you a scenario. There was a time I brought in some birds, almost about 1,004.
1,004
Yes, 1,004. And they were about 2 weeks. I was home and someone called me, Madam, where are you? I said, I'm in the house. You sleep. Your farm manager is running away. I said, how? So I moved, I rushed here. Got here and there was an outbreak.
Wow.
The birds were dying. The guy didn't even know what to do again. So he was just crying and he packed his things that he's leaving.
Wow.
I said, why? Why are you running away? He said, I thought when you come, you say, I didn't take care of them well. And I'm saying, are you the one killing them? At that time, you are hit. But don't let your workers know that you are down. Because when they see you are down, you are their strength. So once you go down, they are all down.
Wow.
So I told him, it's normal. Let's clean the cage. And to be honest, that birds were left to about just 300.
Out of the 1,000?
1,004 or so.
Wow.
And whenever the guy packs them and is going to throw them away, you go and meet him in the bush crying. You go and meet him. And so I had to encourage him. I told him, don't worry, I'll bring you new birds. Don't worry.
So, but
And
was it not avoidable?
some of it, you can't do anything about it. Once they start dying, there's nothing you can do about it. Sometimes it's even advisable, that young, when they do that, it's advisable you kill all of them and bring in anyone. Because whichever will be left cannot give you any productivity. Yes.
Oh, so that's why we had to disinfect
Your feet before you enter.
Oh.
Well, when there's an outbreak, most of the outbreaks are viral. So just the wind, and they are all gone. And when they are going, they go in a twinkle of an eye, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Wow. So one of the things that helps you is that you arm yourself.
You arm yourself, you prepare yourself. It's part of the business.
Wow.
So you always have a plan B. You always have, financially, you need to have your records intact. If you have your records intact, you are able to monitor, sometimes even the feed intake will give you a signal that there's going to be a problem. Wow. Yes, every day they take 3 bags. Today you brought them feed and they took only half bag and you are happy. You think you've saved money. No. They are telling you there's a problem coming. So if you keep all those records, and you should always have a backup plan. You should always have a backup. When you are making it, you don't go throwing money around. Because when you are making it, there's always, poultry farmer, always you see money. Every day you are making sales, you are always seeing money. So if you are not careful and you think you have money on you, so you throw it around, you are in trouble. So you make sure you always have a plan B, a backup.
Should there be an outbreak, there should be something that will bring new birds.
New birds in the system for you.
Wow.
And it's best you try as much as possible. In fact, ever since I started, that was the only outbreak I have had. Wow. A major outbreak, yes. And I realized later that it was from the source where I brought the birds.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so when I complained, I think we were about 4 or 5 farmers who picked from the same source. All of them were also complaining. So we complained to them, and then luckily they came to. They asked us to kill all of them for them to come and replace it.
Wow.
Yes, so that was somehow our luck.
Yeah, so the only thing you lose is the feed.
The feed you had given them. So they came replacing them, and then we pick it up from them. Poultry farmer, most of our challenges are connected with feed.
Feed.
We have, as for sales, it's not our issue. Well, we have a product which moves. As we speak now, we had to even apportion distribution because what we have is not even enough for our customers.
Wow.
But the feed, sometimes there are shortages. So as for this year, it looks like the shortages have even gone down a bit. But sometimes you have money, but you will not have the feed.
Wow.
Yes, and when you have the feed, sometimes we are always increasing prices here and there, instability everywhere. So those are some of the major challenges as farmers. And I always say my background as accountant has really helped me because I know how to strategize when to bring in what. Yes, so that has been my strength.
Okay, so can you give an example of how you've been able to tackle this feed issue?
In fact, at a point, I had to even go into maize farming.
Wow.
Yes, what was it last year? Yes, last year and last 2 years, I went into maize farming because I had to produce my own. Maize was a challenge in Ghana. So I had to go into maize farming to produce, to support it. And I enjoyed it. Wow. Yes, I enjoyed it.
My name is Dr. Poultry, a recently retired staff of Cocoa Board. But I have a background in general agriculture for my first degree, of which my interest was in animal husbandry. I've been an advisor to ANANSE farms for about the past 4 or 5 years when she started her poultry production. Actually, keeping animals is just like keeping your babies. When a toddler or a baby is born, you need to take the child through the series of recommended vaccinations. In the same way, when you come to animal production, particularly poultry production, you need to do the periodic recommended vaccinations. Otherwise, if a disease sets in, you will lose all your birds. Again, you need to keep to farm hygiene, especially the dip in which they put antiseptics for you to wash your feet before you enter, so that you don't carry vermins or parasites from outside into the poultry farm itself. Truly, in a poultry farm, you are expected not to allow visitors to enter the pen, because from where they are coming, you don't know the sort of parasites they are carrying on their body. So it's always advisable to let your farm hands to go in, but even before they go, they need to dip their feet, clean their hands before they touch the birds. In general, poultry farm is a laudable business, which I will encourage people. In fact, I just retired from active service, and I'm going to set a farm on my own to while away my pension time. Thank you.
What are some of the other factors that has contributed to the success of ANANSE farm?
Teamwork is also part. At this point in time, no matter how much you put into it, if you don't have the right team, you can never go anywhere. Yes. So at this point, I make sure at least my workers, I'm able to build that team spirit among them. And as a leader, you try to pull them along, let them understand the pros and cons of the business, and then we can come together. Because to be honest, ever since I started this, no bank has funded me. No, they are not interested. They don't want to hear. So now I also decided not to mind the banks.
When your money comes, you ploy it back.
Exactly. When the money comes, I ploy it back. And as an accountant, I'm still practicing. Yes, I do 1 or 2 jobs here and there. So whatever I get from my accounting work, I push it into the business.
Oh, okay, so even though you are fully into the poultry farm,
yes, I still practice.
You still practice,
yes,
yeah.
I still practice.
Okay, so what are some of the innovative activities you employ to ensure that your farm
is going from
and moving from one state
to the other? You see, when I started, I was doing only eggs. Then I realized that over the years, eggs production comes with its own problems. Sometimes, early this year, I had a very funny crisis. The birds decided not to produce again. They were eating all right, but no production.
Wow.
Exactly. Out of about 35, 40 crates that we were expecting, sometimes we don't even get 3 crates. So after solving that problem,
how did you solve it?
Everybody was coming with its own ideas. Do that, do this, do that. But interestingly, I was on one Francason platform. So I contacted them. I just dropped the problem there. And then one of the Francason doctors called me. And just on phone, he guided me. And within a matter of 2 weeks, the whole thing was over.
Wow.
So that is how much experience can do.
Wow. Have you ever been funded externally apart from your own clawbacks?
Well, let's say AGI through GIZ bought me these battery cages. Those 2 battery cages.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this you bought yourself? I bought.
Sometimes when somebody pushes you small, you must also push yourself. So they bought these 2 for me. I realized that it's good. So I also, with my own strength, started buying. So I'll continue to buy. I hope they also bring me more. If they bring me more, I will be happy.
Yes, because they got you 2, you bought 1. It's a sign that you're a serious
I am serious. Person. So they should bring another 3, then I'll buy 2.
And speak to them.
So if GIZ is listening, you brought me 2. That is 10. 10 in the 2. And I bought 4. I mean, it's fair. It's still 40. So if they bring me another 20, I will also buy 12. And then we can move the business forward together.
That's wonderful. So there may be someone watching and is interested in poultry business and want to go, but probably have no knowledge in poultry. Can you give an advice, the steps this person should take to be able to reach where you are or even beyond where you are?
Sincerely, my first advice to the person is to go and learn. Because poultry, if you have no knowledge, even when there's an issue coming, you will not know. There's an issue. You see, when you came, you saw me tapping the nipples here and there. There are some little technicalities. If you don't know, it will bite you. Yes, so I will advise the person to get a farm, attach himself, learn. Because you may they think you have money. Unless maybe you want to invest and get people to, even at that, you need to have a fair knowledge of it. So I would advise the person should first learn and know some of the basic things about these things before you should think about pumping money into it. Because if you don't learn and you pump money into it, trust me, you will not get anywhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so let's say you brought in new birds. I want you to take us through the process from day old
one
to laying.
Okay.
What are some of the things
From
you do?
day old, you place the order. They will tell you that the birds will be coming maybe on the 20th. So you start preparing your Buddha house. You set fire to warm the place. And the interesting thing is that in the morning, getting to 11 o'clock, after heating your cook, everything, they will tell you they didn't come. And that is your first disappointment. They will tell you they didn't come. So normally when they come the first day at the place, you bring them out from their boxes and make sure you count them and check how healthy they are. We have means of checking them.
Okay.
Yes. So you check all the birds and see that they are fine, they are fit, they are healthy. And then you introduce them to water. So from day one, you monitor them. In fact, for their first 2-3 weeks, between day 0 to week 1, you must be with them in the cage.
Wow.
Yes, to ensure that they are fine.
How often do you feed them?
As for the birds, they are always feeding. You see, from the time you came,
Yes.
they feed like this 24 hours.
Wow.
Every time, especially when they are young, every time make sure there's feed in their trouble. So that they eat, drink, they sleep, eat, drink, sleep. So that your production levels is determined from your day one. Yes, so you, at the Buddha house, you make sure you give them enough warmth. They need it. If they go cold, they will die. Yes, you give them enough warmth. You vaccinate them. You give them some vitamins here and there to make sure they are growing well. Because they need a certain level of weight to be able to produce. So if you are not able to handle them very well at the Buddha house, it affects you here.
How do you get to know their weight?
We weigh them. I was holding a scale. I think I just dropped it. You weigh them constantly. You weigh them. Yes, constantly you weigh them.
And they are each stage and the expected
weights that you're supposed to have. Yes.
Okay. So at what point do they leave the Buddha house to the laying?
Normally, if you check my Buddha house, I have 2 divisions. There's one that normally 2-3 weeks. Then I move them to another point.
Wow.
And then at 5, 6, 7 weeks, then I move them to the open space. So that place, then they are good to go.
So at how many weeks old do you bring them here?
Normally, I bring them here when they are 12, 13 weeks.
Okay.
Almost at the point to lay.
So from 12 weeks, 13 weeks,
14, 15, maximum 16.
maximum
then
16, they start laying.
They start laying. 16, they start laying.
How often does one egg bird lay? Let's say, if you pick one bird, how many eggs can you get from the person, let's say in a month?
Ideally, you should have about 29, 28. All things being equal, you can have 30.
Wow, in
Meaning
a month
a
from
day.
one?
Yes, a day, a bird should lay a day. But sometimes it's not all of them that lay. So you should be having about 90, 92. When you begin to go 80, then you should see there's a problem. So you have to work on it.
That's 80%.
Yes, when you begin to drop from 92, at least you should be around 90, 92 at their peak. Sometimes 95, 98, yes, we are good to get that. So
when
but as they grow, the production drops.
Okay.
So they get their peak, when they are young, they get to their peak of about 90, 95, 98. Some of them are able to get to 98. And then at a point, they drop a little. So they will drop to about 89, 90 and remain there. So they are getting old.
Wow.
Yes.
And what are some of the management you put into the waste from the chicks?
From the chicks, we take it off. We take it off regularly. It's a tray. So they pull it and then put it into a wheelbarrow.
Okay.
And then clean it and push it
And
back.
how do you dispose it?
In fact, people have been coming for it. Farmers, they use it as money. So we have a place, we keep it. And then whenever they come, we just give it to them.
You don't sell it.
People sell, but I don't sell because at the end of the day, if it is there, it's even going to be a nuisance. You see, when you came here, there's no scent here.
Yeah.
So it's going to be something that can become a nuisance for you. Why don't you let them? And again, it's my little way of contributing to the family. I love contributing, seriously.
I can see that.
In the case of technology utilization, to Mercy, technology is very vital to business growth. The kitchen's use is a technology which helps to make the work process easier and increase the capacity of the farm space. She also uses social media platforms to increase the visibility of the business and expand her market. She has also installed CCTV cameras on the farm to increase the security of the farm. I decided to test how good a poultry farmer I'll be if I venture into it. And oh boy, it wasn't easy. I was so afraid the birds would peck me. I couldn't feed them. I couldn't even pick the eggs without shivering. And indeed, we must respect farmers. She advised always spreading the feed to encourage more feeding and even distribution of the feed in the cages. So I asked, what are the signs to know that the birds are doing well? And I was surprised the response that she gave me. She said, 1, the birds must be sensitive to sound to prove that they are well. So to demonstrate this, she clapped her hands and all the birds were quiet. This proved that they are sensitive to the sound from the clap. She also said that a healthy bird should always have a very pinky comb. Anytime they are dehydrated, the comb becomes pale and darkened. One of the things Mercy does every morning she enters the cage is to check the nipples in the cages to ensure that they are dripping well to enable proper distribution of water for the birds in the cage.
Within the Adutwumwaa, we are manager of ANANSE farms. We are more professional. I started from 1998. I started in 2006 district best farmer. I was experience past almost 18-19 years in experience certificate kitame. But man say me hwe nkoko no. Me ma o maduane. Me yi o mkosua. Na ma take me record. Ona o farm kwa ni ho a bibia me a mitimi ye bibia wa ha no ma ona obeba na ni betimi aden age. So into so pa na yese wo yere se me kiro se e bia na obeye adwuma o pen we. Na obeye adwuma we. Nye me ma obi antan fa akon we bia na oye adwuma o pen we ya kina me ma na ko pen different pen na me hwe difference here. E wo between obi ni obi nso adwuma eye ho. Sa akokọ yare o me ye post smoking me ye bibia nenti a bibia me ya ese minya outbreak on kokoro mu ese tembia no uma environment ye kama wo clean ho experience no en say me tembia no cause aboa no omusu omonom 70 to 75%. Omaduane ye almost 25 to 30%. Nti say no nsu no anko mo na say wanya nsu no anom mo a tembia no so even say nekra wanya nsu anom awura den ma obon sa abo wanya nsu anom.
Hello Ghanaians, my name is Gifty Ewa Ajamai. I work at ANANSE Loops Creation Limited in the eastern region of Ghana at New Tafo. Here we have wholesale chicken, we have broilers, we have eggs, and the interesting part of it is that we have it from our own farm. They are not imported. They are very healthy, and if you need already dressed chicken, you can contact us through the number on your screen. And we can supply to you anywhere in Ghana. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Mercy Usu, the CEO of ANANSE Locations Limited, ANANSE Farms. ANANSE Farms is into production of eggs. We are a poultry farm. We produce eggs and chicken. We started from a backyard with a capacity of 150 birds, and we have currently moved to our current site, and currently we house roughly 2,500 laying birds, and we produce broilers as well. We just started our broiler production phase, and we currently produce roughly about 200 broilers a week, and we have an attached cold store which we use to do the distribution of our broilers. The next phase of ANANSE Farms is to increase the production of broilers, to go into the chicken production on a larger scale. We have created the markets. The demand is so huge. We are only asking for funding. Actually, we only have the market, we have the facilities. So we are asking for funding to do an expansion, to increase the production of chicken. We are asking for a cold house to increase the storage facility at our cold store, and also asking for cold delivery van. We are hoping to produce 500 to 1,000 bears in a week to meet our demand. So if you are an investor out there, you are listening to me, we are inviting you to come join us with us to grow this business.
Farming is freedom. If you are looking for freedom,
then it's true
go
farm.
into farming.
Yes,
so we'll sing our song today.
1, 2, 3. Where do they start?
Auto and
maybe I will spoil the song.
Okay, so, let's go farming.
Farming, farming. Freedom, freedom.
If you want chocoyam,
farming.
Where you know still from any farm.
Farming.
If you want chalk eggs,
farming.
Where you know still from any farm.
Farming.
Farming.
Freedom. Farming, farming. Freedom, freedom.
Farming,
freedom. Farming, freedom.